Hey kindergartners, Mr. Bell here. All right, let's go ahead and get started on your next project. First I want to talk to you about a few things, and that is a review of geometric shapes. You know, shapes like, you tell me what they're called. I'll give you a few seconds. What's that shape called? If you said oval, you're correct. You know what this one is? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. If you said that's a hexagon, you're correct. What's this one? You all know this one. Yeah, square. That's right, triangle. Yep, circle, and a diamond. All right, now let's also talk about this. Let's talk about warm colors, like red, orange, and yellow. And let's talk about cool colors, like blue, green, and purple. There's a lot more cool colors in this and a lot more warm colors than that, but these are the ones that we're going to use. They're the main ones. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what your project's going to look like. All right, you're going to use a square, a circle, and a triangle, and you're going to use cool colors inside your geometric shapes. And then later on, you can add warm colors around them, so you can see the difference between the two. All right, let's zoom in a little bit so you can see better. There we go. That's better. And how you paint the background and what kind of patterns you put inside, that's totally up to you. Swirls, zigzag lines, all kinds of different ways to do this. All right, there's another one. This was painted diagonally. So that's in the way you could do it too, and flip it that way. All right, and here's another one. So you can see there's lots of different ways you can paint the background and different kinds of patterns you can use. All right, let's go ahead and let's get started. You'll need a sheet of paper. I'm using tag board. It's a little thicker and better to paint on. If you don't have paints, then you can still do this on a regular sheet of paper and use marker and crayon to color it in. You can outline your stuff in marker and color the rest of it in crayon. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to start with the circle first. And you can draw your own circle, or you can use something circular to trace, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold this cap down, and I'm going to trace around it right near the edge. Give myself a really good circle there. And what kind of pattern do I want to put inside? I'm going to put a face, actually. So you don't have to put a pattern. And I'm going to have some eyebrows, a nose, and a smiley face. And I'll put some eyes looking up this way, because that's where I'm going to put my triangle. All right, here we go. And don't make your shapes too small. Make them nice and big. I'm going to draw a line that matches the side here. I'm going to use a different pencil. Those mechanical pencils, the lead breaks very easily. And I'm going to make a line here. I'm going to try to make them the same length. So I'm going to use my pencil and put the end right there and measure it with my finger and my thumb. And that's how long the line is from here to here. I'm going to come over here and try to make it the same. Well, so I need to go a little bit further to about there. That's a little trick you can use to try to get your lines the same length. Or you can use your finger and thumb and go like this and measure. Alright, now I'm going to draw a very light line across. If that looks good, then I'm going to make it darker. There we go. I have my triangle. And I'm going to draw my square here. I think I'm going to make a nice big one. So I'm going to do the same thing I did there, but I'm going to go a little further away from the edge. There we go. And take a guess and try to make it the same length. Or, like I said before, you can measure. Yeah, I need to make that just a tad bit longer. Alright, now see how straight that line is? I'm going to try to make one that's just as straight. Sometimes I turn my paper this way. See, it looks slanted. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this and redraw that line. Try to make it straighter.
looks better. Now I can connect it right down here like this. There we go. All right. Now, if you want to add any like little squares or little triangles, you can do that too if you want to add more, but you don't have to. I'm just going to leave it like this. Now I need to put a pattern in here, so I'm going to divide that down the middle, and I'm going to do an AB pattern in here. Straight, dashed, straight, dashed, straight, dashed, straight, dashed. And let me see, in here I think I'll do some curvy lines going this way, and I'm going to do some straight lines going down that way, so crisscrossing each other. Right, that's good. All right, now it's time for the crayon part. So I am going to get my cold color crayons first. I have my blue, I have my green, and I have my purple, because remember we talked about that earlier. All right. These are the main cold colors, or cool colors, blue, green, and purple. And here we go. Put that eraser out of the way. I think I will make, so I could make all these lines blue. I could make these all green, the inside and the out. I could make these all purple. Blue, green, and purple. Or I could have all three on each one. So you just have to make these decisions. And I'm going to trace my square blue. I'm going to use a different color in there though. I'm going to trace the circle purple. And I'm pressing really hard, because the harder you press, the better it's going to show up after you paint. And if you trace these too lightly, it's just going to get lost. You won't be able to see your shapes as well. I'm going to make the triangle green. Try your hardest to stay on the line. Sometimes you have to go over it more than once to get it darker. Right near the edge, I have to be really careful on that edge. I don't want to go off the side. That won't look good. If you're doing this, if you don't have paints and you're doing this with marker and crayon, then you'll be tracing these lines with marker. Okay? All right, now the inside. I think I'll do these lines green. As long as you're using cold colors, that's all that matters. Because the geometric shapes are going to be all cold colors. Now I'm going to make these lines green too, because I'm going to paint purple in there. I have the plan in my head already. Good. Now inside here, I'm going to do these purple, because I have purple outline here. I don't want to do purple in there. I'm going to go over these a couple of times, make sure they're on there really good. Make it nice and waxy with this crayon. This wax is solid, and it'll block out the watercolor paint really well. Okay. And last but not least is the inside here. I'm going to use blue, because I have blue outline there. So I'm going to take my time on this and really get this face good. The eyeballs and the circles. And the eyebrows. The eyes, the dots in there, the nose. And the happy face. And there we go. Now I am ready to paint cold colors inside the geometric shapes. And if you traced all these with marker, then you'll be coloring in with crayon inside there, okay? Just remember that. Okay, I'm washing my brush off really good, making sure there's no other colors on there. Drag it on here. And I'm going to start picking my cold colors to paint inside. I'm going to start with purple. This is green and blue, so I'm going to do purple in there. I could do green. It really doesn't matter. I could paint this blue, paint this purple, and paint this green, but I'm going to have three on each, three different colors, so I'm going to do purple. So I have purple, green, and blue all in this geometric shape. Now remember, watercolor, it's not going to be, whoops, I messed up. I went outside the line a little bit. Oh well, that's okay. No big deal. Some parts will look lighter, some parts will look darker. Don't go over it and over it 100 times trying to get it all the same darkness. You'll end up putting a hole in your paper. So before I go to my next color, what do I need to do to my brush? Wash it off. Don't forget to wash that brush off. Now I'm going to go into my green because I want to make my face green. Here we go. Just going to paint right on top. See how the crayon blocks out the watercolor? It resists it. That's called crayon resist. Blocks it out. I don't want this too dark because I want to be able to see the face really good. And some parts are lighter, some are darker. That's okay. That's what watercolor's like, and that's okay. That's one of the things I like about watercolor. Now I'm going to blue. I'm going to do blue inside. I'm very carefully going to go along the edge here. Go along this edge. If you hold it in the silver part, you can get more control. And I'm just going to paint. I'm just pushing this paint right up in there. There's still plenty on the paper. I don't need to dip it back in there. I don't want it too messy looking. I missed a few spots. There we go. Purple in there. Green in there. Blue in there. Wash my brush off. And wash your brush off really good. And what I'm going to do is I am going to go into the red. And I'm going to paint red around, very carefully, around the face, around the circle. Now, it might come out looking pink, because it will at first. And that's fine, because pink's a warm color too, so you can leave parts of it looking pink. But if you want it darker, you just have to go back in the red again and go over it a second time, which is what I'm going to do. I want to get a good red on there. I'm not dipping it back in the water, I'm just going back in the paint, because it'll come out darker that way. If I use too much water, it'll come out looking more pink. Alright, now I'm going to get some more water on there, dip it back in the red, and I'm going to go like this, around the outside edge. Oops, I went in there a little bit. Gotta be careful. Going a little too fast, aren't I? I don't have a lot of time left in my video, so I've got to speed up a little bit. I do not want you to go this fast when you're painting now. I need you all to paint slower and more carefully. Okay, I'm going to wash my brush off. Alright, and I'm going to go up here to this corner. I'm going to do yellow. And before you go into yellow, make sure you wash your brush off really good, because the yellow gets stained easily by the other colors. You all know this, don't you? So I'm going to paint around here. And some of the yellow is going to go on there, and look, it turns orange. The yellow and the red makes orange. I'm going to go about halfway. I'm going to paint all this. It's okay that the colors are mixing together a little bit here. And paint along here. I'm going to paint all this yellow down here. Okay, so that's the next part I'm going to do. Alright, so I'm done with the yellow. I'll wash my brush off really good, and I'm going to do orange on this side. You see where the yellow and the red combined, it did turn an orangish color. Pretty cool. It's like art and science mixed together, isn't it? I'll hold this down really carefully. Go into my orange. And I'm going to get along this edge first very carefully. If you're painting on a table at home, make sure you put something underneath so you don't stain your table. These tables are very specially made. They block out paints really well. But when I paint at home, I always put a plastic tray underneath or another sheet of paper underneath so I don't mess up my kitchen table at home. I'm going to paint all this in. Nice and good orange here. And I'm going to start painting the rest. And yes, the orange is going to mix in with the yellow and the red here where it overlaps. That's okay. It'll make a red orange and a yellow orange there. And that's a nice color too. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the rest of this orange. We'll take a look at it. Alright. There we go. I'm all done. Alright. Cold colors and geometric shapes. Warm colors on the outside. Alright. Y'all have fun with this. I can't wait to see yours. Make sure you take a picture and send it to me. All right. Bye-bye.